नमस्ते गुरु जी। जय गुरु जी महाराज। जय गुरु जी साथ संगत जी। शुक्राना गुरु जी महाराज का सेवादार टीम की तरफ से आप सबका स्वागत है। आज फोर्थ सेशन के लिए आरती कपूर आंटी जी आई हैं। मैं तनुज कपूर आंटी जी से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, प्लीज सेशन को आगे बढ़ाएं। जय गुरु जी।
जय गुरु जी अंकल जी, और आई हुई सभी संगत को जय गुरु जी और प्यार भरी नमस्ते। Welcome to all of you on behalf of Multilingual Group to today's session, which is the reading of chapters 7 and 8 by the author herself, Aarti Kapur Aunty ji. A big welcome to you once again. Continuing with the readings. Tu Hi Tu. Aunty, it is such an apt title, which not only reflects on your truly blessed journey with Guruji Maharaj, but I think it also inspires the new Sangat to walk this beautiful path and themselves experience the divine bliss of that direct connection with Guruji, his unimaginable meher, his presence, and the immense love that we begin to feel in our lives when he takes us in his Sharan. Every word that you've written, Aarti Aunty, and then elaborate upon, it is brimming with your love and gratitude for him. It could be your Guru Dakshina, although the journey continues. Personally, I like how, in a very natural and simplistic way, you talk of your visits to Guruji's Darbar and your other informal interactions with him. The so-called old Sangat is transported back in time to those wonderful memories of Chota Mandir and the Bade Mandir functions. But more importantly, it helps the new Sangat to experience that journey too. And I've felt it not only while you read, that me too. I'm back in Chota Mandir, and I think the new Sangat who always feels that they wish they had experienced those magical moments. The way you have described your journey, each interaction with him in such simplistic and loving detail, I think many of them feel that they themselves are present. And that's what I love about your writing. So I won't take much time, but I definitely wanted to pay this small tribute and congratulate you on this endeavor. And now I hand you over to continue with chapters 7 and 8 as is planned today. Over to you, Aarti Aunty.
Namaste to Guruji. Jai Guruji to everybody. Bahut bahut shukrana, Auntie. I was so touched and moved by your words. And hearing you speak, I was like smiling ear to ear. So you know, you're right that all we can do is in very simple words express our love for Guruji, because I think that's the biggest thought. That's the only thing we hold on to in this date and age. And once again, thank you to Multilingual for hosting me. This is week 4, and as Auntie said, that I will be reading chapters 7 and 8 today. So in the last 2 chapters, I covered about how Maharaj blessed Anya's health, and then how the first satsang at our place in New Jersey in 2012 was orchestrated through his dream darshan. Dream darshan is his directive, his direction, and जैसे जैसे गुरुजी ने दिखाया, जो date दी, जो menu दिया, उसके हिसाब से everything fell into place. So in short, that's what I've covered last week. So today, in continuation, I will start with chapter 7, which is Showers of His Blessings. In July 2012, I had another significant dream that brought immense relief and hope. In the dream, Guruji conveyed that Shani is Saturn, was very angry with Vikram. He mentioned pulling out Vikram's spiritual dossier or file, indicating some sort of spiritual intervention or protection. Guruji explained that he had to fight hard with Shani, but ultimately they won the case and everything would be all right. This dream came at a crucial time when Vikram was seeking to get re-employed, Soon after, he had an upcoming interview for the vice president role at a startup company in Manhattan. So like I'd said last week, that we had this very difficult lull period for about 14 months where we had no source of income. Everything had come to a screeching halt. And those were very, very tough times because in a country like US, with two young kids, if you don't have any income coming in, it's very hard to pay your rents or mortgages and car payments, and not having insurance, health insurance with two young kids was also nightmarish because बच्चे तो हर दूसरे दिन बीमार पड़ते हैं, and people who are in the States can vouch for it that health insurance के बगैर यहाँ पर गुजारा हो ही नहीं सकता. But कैसे वो 14 महीने निकले, I don't know. Finally जुलाई 2012 में एक और सपने में गुरुजी स्वप्न दर्शन देते हैं, और उसमें गुरुजी ने दिखाया कि शनि देवता विक्रम से बहुत नाराज थे, लेकिन गुरुजी ने आके बताया कि मैंने उसको काम कर दिया है, उसको समझा दिया है, which to me it was an indication that हमारे whatever काम जो रुके हुए थे or whatever was happening and things were going south was because of some जैसे कहते हैं किसी चीज का प्रकोप, और गुरुजी ने वो आके कंफर्म कर दिया कि ऐसे ऐसे शनिदेव was angry but मैंने समझा दिया है, और basically अब काम बनने शुरू हो जाएंगे. So then as soon as मुझे ये सपना आया, the next thing we know is that उसको इंटरव्यू की एक ऑफर आती है. And I do want to add that, when you start applying for roles at a certain level without networking, getting those roles are very, very difficult, because usually such positions वो internally fill हो जाती हैं, और अगर नहीं भी होती तो you need to have some sort of a network. And he was literally transitioning from his own business going back into the workforce, so the transition was a little bit hard. But अगर गुरुजी ने कुछ बख्शीश देनी है, then no roadblocks can ever touch us, right? Transitioning from running our own business to corporate life and seeking a high-level position added its own challenges. Most top positions are filled through internal networks or referrals, making it rare for an external candidate to secure such a role. However, despite these hurdles, Vikram's interviews went well, and he was offered the vice president role at the salary he desired. This miraculous turn of events was undoubtedly a result of Guruji's blessings and divine intervention. I couldn't be more grateful for Guruji's presence in our lives, guiding and protecting us during the most challenging times. His love and grace have been a source of strength and support, and through his divine guidance, we have experienced countless miracles. Jai Guruji for his boundless blessings and the assurance that everything will be okay, no matter how difficult the circumstances may seem. So this is how it is even today. Like, no matter how challenging the times become, or we feel overwhelmed with pressure and things going south, the only thing that keeps us grounded and the only thing that keeps us going is reminding ourselves of the fact that Guruji hai. And in today's time, especially with the world at fire with Israel and Hamas and the war happening, all the more reason for people like us who feel blessed and protected to pray for those around us who are in need. So चलते फिरते, उठते बैठते, सोते जागते, I think हमारे मुंह से यही निकलना चाहिए कि गुरुजी हमें बख्श दो, गुरुजी मेहर करो, गुरुजी मेहर करो. और another way that I think in my mind leads to a little bit of a spiritual progression or evolution is when you start to say कि गुरुजी मुझे वो बनाओ जो आप बनाना चाहते हो, गुरुजी आप मुझसे वो कराओ जो आप करवाना चाहते हो. So even when you pray, you stop asking कि गुरुजी मेरा ये वाला काम बना दो, या गुरुजी मुझे वो चीज दे दो, या मुझे इससे मिला दो. हम सिर्फ ये बोलते हैं कि गुरुजी वही करवाना जो आपकी रजा। In 2012, I re-embarked on my journey into the corporate world of America, despite having no other launching pad. Like, you know, in India, I would have had my father's influence had I been in India, but here I was on my own. Guruji's guiding light illuminated the path for me. Although challenging, I never doubted that anything is possible in Guruji's world. The word impossible becomes I am possible. So, like we say कि गुरुजी की दुनिया में कोई कोइंसिडेंस नहीं होता, गुरुजी की दुनिया में कुछ भी नामुमकिन नहीं है, क्योंकि सब कुछ करने कराने वाले गुरुजी हैं. And that's why हम ये भी अक्सर कहते हैं, a lot of people sometimes say कि ऐसा लगता है कि गुरुजी हमारी सुनते नहीं है, गुरुजी सुनते नहीं है. गुरुजी सब सुनते हैं, लेकिन शायद हम में उतना विश्वास नहीं और हम में इतनी वो पेशेंस नहीं कि हम रुक सकें और उनकी रजा को समझ सकें, क्योंकि हम बहुत काले पड़ जाते हैं. और अगर आपको लग रहा है that you know same actions are yielding same results, then try to change the way we ask, try to change the way we operate, try to change the way we seek his blessings, right? Leaving my 2-year-old at daycare and commuting from North Jersey to Princeton for my IT training was tough. However, in the midst of this, I received a wonderful opportunity. Express Scripts through Cognizant Technology Solutions offered me a role of a business analyst. The process was interesting and included a dream that provided an indication of my success. Before the in-person interview, I had a dream of Guruji pacing on campus, and to my surprise, the venue turned out to be the same campus I had seen in my dream. This dream filled me with hope and confidence that I would get the job. However, weeks went by without any word, and my then husband began expressing doubts about the job offer. Yet, I remained steadfast in my belief, convinced that this place was meant for me. Miraculously, within the same week of my husband's skepticism, I received a call from the same place offering me the same role as a business analyst, but on a completely different team. So I'll explain this a little bit. I wanted to relaunch myself in the corporate space, right? And that took a little bit of training, and hard work was involved. I had 2 little girls. One was 7, the other was 2. So 7-year-old to school जाती थी, 2 साल की बच्ची को डे केयर में छोड़कर सुबह सुबह दूर. I used to go for my training. I would drive almost an hour and a half or 2 hours to get that training. And then जैसे ही वो खत्म हुआ तो एक इंटरव्यू की अपॉर्चुनिटी मुझे मिली, और वो इन पर्सन इंटरव्यू था. अगेन ड्रीम में गुरुजी ने दिखाया एक बहुत सुंदर सा कैंपस, स्प्रॉलिंग ग्रीन, लश ग्रीन लॉन्स, खुला डुला एरिया, और गुरुजी वहां चल रहे हैं. तो जब मैं अपना इंटरव्यू देने गई एक्सप्रेस स्क्रिप्ट्स के कैंपस में, मैंने कहा अरे यही तो गुरुजी ने ड्रीम में दिखाया था. सो बिकॉज वो सपने में दिखाया और गुरुजी वहां चल रहे थे, एंड दैट वाज द प्लेस ऑफ माय इंटरव्यू, तो मैंने अपने मन में ये सोच लिया कि इसका मतलब मुझे यहाँ पर सक्सेस मिलेगी. तो इंटरव्यू हो गया. इंटरव्यू वाज ओके इन माय व्यू, बट काफी हफ्ते निकल गए और उन्होंने कांटेक्ट नहीं किया. तो विक्रम ने बोलना शुरू कर दिया कि आईटी कंसल्टिंग में ऐसा नहीं होता. इफ दे नीड टू हायर यू, they will usually make an offer in the next week to 10 days. ऐसे you never wait for 3 to 4 weeks to fill a position that needs to be filled. इसका मतलब they filled the position with someone else. So, but मेरे को I was steadfast in my faith कि गुरुजी ने वो कैंपस दिखाया है, तो इसका मतलब कुछ तो यहाँ होएगा. And sure enough, randomly out of the blue, I get another phone call, and we have this mini just phone screening, और मुझे same role मिलता है, but on a completely different team, but the same venue. It was a reaffirmation of Guruji's divine presence, orchestrating the opportunity in his own unique way. Through his blessings, I embarked on a fulfilling career journey, all made possible by Guruji's divine guidance and unwavering support. Jai Guruji again for making the impossible possible and leading me on this incredible path in corporate America. So again, I sound like a broken record just saying this, that हमारी सोच सिर्फ एक certain point तक होती है. Beyond that, गुरुजी के क्या plans हैं और वो कैसे और कब unfold होंगे उसका हमें इल्म भी नहीं है. And again, जब हम में सबर आता है, सबर is directly tied to faith. अगर तो आप में faith है तो you will know कि जो होगा, जैसे होगा, जब भी होगा, अच्छा होगा. और अगर नहीं है, then we have to work towards getting that bakshish from Guruji. Starting my new role as a business analyst was nerve-wracking, as I had no prior experience in this field and felt unprepared for the tasks ahead. Writing business requirement documents and dealing with IT-related matters seemed like a daunting challenge. Now, this is something I'd not done. Like I had worked in, other companies like Siemens and, but in a completely different capacity. This was a brand new, unknown territory for me, and the tasks and the responsibilities that came with the role felt a little daunting, क्योंकि कभी किया नहीं था. But kaise, again, Guruji, Sada Sahai, Guruji Angsang. I will read on. However, destiny had its own plans. In the few days before I officially received my work laptop, Hurricane Sandy struck the East Coast in 2012, causing widespread damage and disruption. This unexpected turn of events further delayed the start of my work by a couple of weeks. But here's where Guruji's grace and protection were evident once again. While many areas in New Jersey and New York suffered from flooding and power outages, our living place remained unaffected. It was almost as if Guruji had created a safe bubble around us. We enjoyed a paid vacation during those days, spending time together, watching movies, and simply relaxing. It was a blessing in disguise, as the chaos caused by Sandy meant there were no immediate business requirements documents to write. So again, timing. I joined, and usually, it takes about, at least back in the days, up to it's a lot faster. आम बात थी कि जब तक आपको लैपटॉप एक्सेस वगैरह सब प्रोविजन होएगा, हफ्ता 10 दिन निकल जाता था. बट मेरे केस में क्या हुआ कि जैसे ही ज्वाइन किया, अक्टूबर 2012 में सैंडी हिट द ट्राई स्टेट एरिया. तो काफी उस हरिकेन ने काफी नुकसान पहुंचाया. And obviously everything was put on hold, offices were shut down, which meant कि अब नौकरी तो शुरू हो गई है, इनकम आनी शुरू हो गई है, पर काम था नहीं. And Guruji just kept, our space so protected. लोगों के यहाँ लाइटें नहीं थी, flooding हो रही थी, but हमें ऐसा लग रहा था कि जैसे कुछ तो, जैसे कहते हैं ना, रक्षा कवच आसपास है, कि हमें कोई impact ही नहीं हुआ. In fact, that time we used to enjoy ourselves and just relax and unwind. And that anxiety कि oh God, मुझे आती इस role में, I'll have to start authoring documents जो मुझे करना नहीं आता, that was pushed out by at least 8 weeks. Guruji's blessings continued to pave the way for my success at work. Despite being assigned to write a business requirement documentation for a team, a co-worker came to my aid and took over the task entirely. Guruji's divine plan unfolded once again, sparing me from the pressure of delivering something beyond my level of comfort and expertise. The document was completed flawlessly, and my co-worker's assistance ensured that it met clients' expectations. So, एक छोटी सी बात है that when we went back to work from Sandy, I was assigned a task to write a BRD for a team, and out of the blue, again, somebody comes and volunteers that, hey, you want me to take this on? I can do this. I've been doing this for a long time. And without me asking, this was just taken from my plate and delivered. And that was the last time, by the way, I was ever asked to write a BRD, because soon after my role changed. And I'm going to share that satsang as well. As the year came to an end, we found ourselves working at the command center on December 31st, 2012. and into the night of January 1st, 2013. Little did I know that this very night would bring a significant turning point in my career. During this time, I had an opportunity to meet a business leader at Express Scripts who offered me a role on his team. This role was different from being a business analyst and marked the start of my journey in lead management positions. With Guruji's grace, I was able to transition into the role that suited my skills and passion better, and I excelled in my new position. Not only did this change provide me with greater job satisfaction, but it also came with a significant increase in salary. Once again, Guruji's blessings proved to be the guiding force that led me to new opportunities and a prosperous career. That said, there was always a void that I knew I had to fill quickly because I was placed in a role without any foundational knowledge. This meant I had to take a few courses and certifications without even having the required numbers and required years of experience. So, like I said, that it so happened that we were supposed to be working for this go live, thing at a command center. It was 31st December, and my entire team was there, and I happened to meet somebody. And he said, hey, there's an open position on my team. Would you like to take that on? And my prior experience and my skill set was actually better suited to that. And ever since then, there was no looking back. Within just a couple months, my salary almost doubled. And Guruji's grace was immense, but this also refueled that passion in me to keep forging ahead. And I had to quickly step it up because I internally knew because I moved from India to the US. I took a break because of motherhood and raising kids. I needed to fill that void up. So I needed to do additional certifications and additional trainings to bridge that gap. With Guruji's voice in my head, I signed up for PMP certification, which is Project Management Professional, which required a certain amount of work experience. I filled in the application and fabricated my work experience so I could at least take the test. Now, वो PMP का exam लेने के लिए भी you have to have certain number of hours. मेरे पास वो hours नहीं थे, पर गुरुजी की आवाज आ रही थी कि exam तूने ये certification करनी है. And it's a relatively difficult certification because that's a very by the book certification. अगर आपको लगता है कि आपके पास 20 साल का project management का experience है और आप वो exam clear कर लोगे, you're sadly mistaken because it's very, very by the book. So, but क्योंकि गुरुजी ने इंस्पायर किया था कि ये सर्टिफिकेशन करनी है, तो मैंने कहा चलो मैं फॉर्म भर देती हूँ, करते हैं. अब जब वो मैंने एप्लीकेशन सबमिट करी, I'm going to read what happens further. However, my application got flagged in a random audit and I had to provide additional information regarding my work experience. Luckily, I managed to get the head of my department to sign the letter and the application was approved. Once I signed up and had a date for the exam, I began studying hard. That exam, for those of you who know, is very by the book. People with years of experience often fail this exam because answering the questions based on everyday experience won't suffice. The study guide, also known as the PMBOK, there's a particular book called Project Management Book of Knowledge, was incredibly dry and voluminous as well. Nevertheless, I took the exam and passed it in one shot. At that time, it was a huge sense of accomplishment, not having the experience and still daring to take the certification thanks to the voice in my head, which was his. Guruji kept steering my life in the right direction and continues to do so. So, like I touched upon it, job शुरू कर दी, role change हो गया, उसके बाद एक अंदर से एक आवाज आने लगी कि अब next step क्या करना है, ये सर्टिफिकेशन करनी है. एंड जब उसके लिए अप्लाई किया एग्जाम के लिए, तो फॉर्म भरना पड़ता है और वो फॉर्म रैंडम ऑडिट्स होते हैं, उसमें वो एक्स्ट्रा सॉर्ट ऑफ स्क्रूटनी के लिए आ गया. सो आई हैड टू go to the head of the department, get their application signed, and I decided to take the exam. And with Guruji's grace and blessings, वो एक ही shot में I was able to clear that. And I still remember that right from the exam center, I went back to Guruji's Mandir here in New Jersey to do, just to Shukrana. Life went on and my career trajectory was looking good. I moved from Cognizant to Deloitte. This too felt like a satsang because I never failed to acknowledge that I got everything sooner and more than I ever deserved. For that opportunity too, a recruiter reached out to me out of the blue on LinkedIn, and Guruji carried me through 8 rounds of interviews, both on phone and in person. With the new job came more responsibility and travel every week. So then, out of the blue, a recruiter reached out to me on LinkedIn, and he said, "Hey, we have an opening at Deloitte. Are you interested?" And Deloitte was a big brand name in consulting. It still is. And I just followed the process, and after 8 rounds of interviews, I was given the job offer. But with that came more responsibility, came more travel. So, life was just moving at a breakneck speed. I did this for 2 years, and while it did create a vacuum at home, life was moving at a neck-breaking speed. Each day unfolded a new set of challenges, and with every challenge came immense blessings. Between 2013 and 14, we acquired 2 homes. The first home we purchased was the condo that we were living in. The closing was a couple of days away, and I was excitedly telling everyone about our plans to become homeowners for the first time. Vic was hesitant and would always say that you should only talk after the work is done. However, my excitement knew no bounds. There was a deep-rooted confidence in me that if it's meant to be, it'll happen. Right before closing, we discovered a few hidden costs, which meant that we were about $11,500 short. I still remember the exact amount. If we did not have that amount, the entire deal could have fallen apart. Please believe me, Sangaji, the next day I received an unexpected wire transfer from Cognizant, my employer, for that exact amount. I was not expecting it and knew it in a jiffy that Guruji had pulled some strings. The closing happened and we bought the home. We had been renting since 2009. So just condo में हम New Jersey में move हुए थे. We decided to buy that in 2013. So यहाँ पर एक होता है घर की price and then you have separate closing costs. So closing costs में unexpected एक angle निकला आया जिसमें we needed a couple $1,000s more. And I had already started to tell people that we'll probably end up buying this house. और विक्रम थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा cautious अपना his way of approaching things is a little bit more cautious and conservative than mine. So he said कि ऐसे तुम्हें announce नहीं करना चाहिए, काम होने के बाद ही बोलना चाहिए. And I was very, very excited. I said, regardless, जो भी नतीजा होएगा, अच्छा ही होगा. And if this is meant to happen, it will happen, Sure enough, I think faith always gets rewarded. I haven't seen a situation जहाँ किसी का विश्वास का इनाम उसको ना मिला हो. And out of the blue, I see an ACH come in for that exact amount. And the closing went through seamlessly. Uske baad, almost next year, we bought another home. So the second home, which we lovingly called Guru Ashiana, was also a gift from him. It was a dream house for sure, and we held monthly satsangs for 5 years in this home together. I found this home online, and it was only once we physically saw it, ये online हमने घर देखा था, and when people are searching for homes, they tend to see a lot of homes. बहुत showings में वो जाते हैं. हमने सिर्फ एक ही घर physically देखा. And Vikram was reluctant to even see it initially because it was in the suburbs, which was far from work. However, when we saw it, he realized that this was also the home that Guruji had shown him in a dream. So we immediately agreed to buy it. So पहले जब वो online listing निकली, and I was very keen to see that home. So location, because it was a little bit far from New York City, so his initial reaction was that it's in the middle of nowhere, it's too far, and we're not interested. But when we agreed to see that home, he realized that, you know, he had seen this home in his dream, जो गुरुजी ने उसको पहले ही दिखा दिया था, और जैसे ही उसने फिर वो घर देखा, we just instantly agreed to buy it. During our visit, we also met our neighbor who looked like an old Guruji Sangat, and he also convinced us to move in. We felt his energy and presence in every corner of the home. The chair that Guruji sat on and the table that was used for his satsangs made it to our darbar. After 7 long years, the table was used during the time of Clare Farm satsangs and the Gurgaon annual satsang every year while Maharaj was in his physical form. In 2007, my father thought of giving that away for the use by Gurgaon annual satsang organizers, and I told him not to do so because someday it would find its way into our place, and it did. 7 years later, on the eve of Thanksgiving, such is his divine grace. So, like I said, that जब हम वो घर देखने गए, so because उसने dream में वो देखा था, he agreed to buy. The second factor was we ran into our immediate neighbors, and वो वाले uncle बिल्कुल गुरुजी की एक संगत है, Chatterjee uncle, Colonel Chatterjee, बिल्कुल हूबहू उनकी शक्ल, और मैं उनको देखकर ये कहूँ, मैंने कहा कर्नल चैटर्जी अंकल यहाँ कैसे आ गए? And he just, you know, he spoke to us जैसे पता नहीं हम कितने सालों से उनको जानते हैं. He said, हाँ आप ही लो, हमें इंडियंस ही चाहिए नेबरहुड में. और he talked us into that it's a beautiful home, इसमें बहुत अपग्रेड्स किए हुए हैं, तो आप ये ले लो. And so we decided to go for that home. और you know, उस घर में हमने काफी साथ सत्संग भी किए. Or there was this chair and table. I don't know if you can see it. ये गुरुजी के Clare Farms गुरुजी का गुड़गांव एनुअल सत्संग जब भी हुआ है, जब तक महाराज चोले में थे, यही कुर्सी और टेबल जाता था. And then after Guruji left his physical form, his chola, I still remember that I think 2007 की बात है. After Guruji had left his chola, that I was talking to my dad, and पापा कहते कि दिसंबर में वो एनुअल सत्संग होना है, तो कमांडर शर्मा बोल रहे हैं कि ये कुर्सी और टेबल आप डोनेट कर दो, बिकॉज यू नो गुरुजी के काम ही आएगी. तो मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि उनको दे देता हूँ. एंड आई डोंट नो व्हाट गॉट इनटू मी, एंड आई सेड नहीं पापा, ये कुर्सी और टेबल आप रखना, ये हमारे घर में आएगा. और 2007 में आई वाज इन न्यूयॉर्क in a very small 2-bedroom apartment. और सोचने की बात है कि जब यू नो लिटरली किसी और चीज की जगह नहीं थी, एंड मेरे मुंह से निकलना कि नहीं नहीं ये कुर्सी और टेबल तो हमारे घर में आएगा. वो 2007 की बात, 2014 में it finally arrived at our home on the eve of Thanksgiving. So ये होती है गुरुजी की टाइमिंग, और यू नो मुकर्रर गुरुजी करते हैं. And then I have a picture of बड़े मंदिर, which is, we all know, heaven on earth. Like Guruji said, कि ये मैं एक सुच्ची था अपनी संगत के लिए छोड़ के जा रहा हूँ. And this is our ever so beautiful Guru Sahib. Chapter 8, his blessings today, forever and beyond. I look back at May 31st, 2007, the day he left his chola, as a black day in our lives. But it is also Guruji who taught us to look for the silver lining in the darkest of clouds. When he was in his physical form, he was bound by limitations of mortality, despite being a highly enlightened and elevated soul. However, after leaving his physical garb, he broke free from the shackles and limitations. He became formless, his power was limitless, and his sangat multiplied manifold. So this is true that जब गुरुजी ने अपना चोला छोड़ा, so the then sangat जो गुरुजी से physical form में जुड़ी हुई थी was pretty shook up. And हम सबको ये एहसास होने लग गया था कि ऐसा कैसे हो गया? We were all in a state of shock. We all felt orphaned, and it was very very difficult for us to digest that something like this could even be possible. क्योंकि हमारे जहन में बस एक ही बात थी कि वो महापुरुष जिन्होंने लाखों करोड़ों को जीवन दान दिया, वो खुद ऐसे कैसे चले गए। लेकिन वो बात आज समझ आती है that this was also by his design, because being in human form, he was also bound by the limitations of that physical garb. गुरुजी लिटरली हम सबका कष्ट अपने ऊपर लेते थे। लोगों का ब्लैक मैजिक, लोगों का कैंसर, खून की उल्टियां करनी गुरुजी ने, लोगों की हेडेक, माइग्रेन अपने ऊपर लेते थे और उसको तप करके जलाते थे, बिकॉज वो भी उस शारीरिक मर्यादा में बंधे हुए थे। लेकिन आज अपना चोला छोड़ने के बाद हम सब देख रहे हैं कि संगत कितनी बढ़ गई है और उनकी पावर्स तो अब बाउंडलेस और कंप्लीटली लिमिटलेस हो गई हैं, बिकॉज नाउ इवन गुरु साहिब इज फॉर्मलेस। I vividly remember that fateful day because on 29th May 2007, I had to undergo a DNC procedure. We had lost the second child I was carrying. I was an emotional wreck, feeling terribly alone, and the fear of the unknown was tremendous. I did not know how painful the procedure would be, nor did I know the recovery time. With no help at hand and a 2-year-old at home, I was a bundle of nerves as I went into the operating room. In an effort to find comfort, I took a small clip-on Swarup of Guruji. Those were the only ones available back then, and attached it to my clothes. So as I'm talking about 31st May 2007, there is another day that is fairly close. So on 29th May 2007, मुझे अभी तक याद है, my DNC was scheduled because my second pregnancy, I had miscarried the baby, so they had to do this procedure. Now I did not know what DNC meant, what it entails. All I knew was कि इसमें general anesthesia देंगे, they'll put you to sleep and do whatever they need to do. मुझे ये नहीं पता था कि इसका रिकवरी टाइम क्या होगा, आफ्टर प्रोसीजर कोई कॉम्प्लिकेशंस होंगे कि नहीं होंगे, एंड आई वाज वेरी नर्वस। तो जब ऑपरेशन थिएटर में लेकर गए टू डू द प्रोसीजर, सो आई हैड द स्मॉल क्लिप ऑन स्वरूप जो मैंने अपने गाउन के ऊपर लगाया था। एंड बैक इन द डे संगत जी, वो छोटे छोटे वाले क्लिप्स मिलते थे, बड़े बड़े स्वरूप्स बहुत ही कम दिए जाते थे। इनफैक्ट 2003-2004 में आई डोंट थिंक के बड़े बड़े पोस्टर्स का कोई लंबा चौड़ा रिवाज भी था, वो छोटे छोटे क्लिप ऑन वाले ही मिलते थे। सो आई हैड दैट एंड आई हेल्ड ऑन टू दैट, और वो मैंने अपने कपड़ों पे अटैच कर लिया। And I requested the staff to let the Swarup stay with me as is. When they asked me who this is, I replied, it's my God. Clinging to the Swarup, I was put to sleep. From that point on, I have no recollection of the procedure itself, how it happened, what occurred. I felt no pain whatsoever during or after the DNC. तो जब वो स्वरूप लगा हुआ था, तो नर्स ने पूछा कि ये क्या, हु इज दिस, एंड आई सेड ये मेरे भगवान की फोटो है, तो मेरी ये रिक्वेस्ट है कि इसको प्लीज लगे रहने दो। एंड उसके बाद दे पुट मी टू स्लीप, एंड आई डोंट नो कि प्रोसीजर में क्या हुआ, कितनी देर का था, बिकॉज मुझे ना प्रोसीजर के दौरान या प्रोसीजर के बाद कोई भी दर्द का एहसास हुआ। Of course, I returned home with a lot of mental agony, but there was no physical pain. Our extended families living thousands of miles away were deeply concerned about my mental well-being. Though some cousins in the state came over, I felt isolated, left with a 2-year-old to care for, and all our parents could do was call to check in on me. So दोनों साइड के पेरेंट्स का सिर्फ दूर बैठे एक फोन ही आ सकता था, और यहाँ पर जो हमारी थोड़ी सी एक्सटेंडेड फैमिली थी, कजन्स थे, तो 2-4 लोगों ने विजिट कर लिया, बट that mental agony was there more than any physical pain per se. Or because of that, I used to feel very lonely, isolated, depressed, and ऊपर से I would be home all day, and I was tasked to care for a 2-year-old kid. So it was, I wasn't in the right frame of mind. So they called me the next day on the 30th, But alas, there was no phone calls the night of the 30th or the morning of the 31st. So like I said, parents would just call and check in. और उनका 30th को phone आया, but 30th रात को और 31st की सुबह कोई phone ही नहीं आया. I called my mom, feeling somewhat disappointed and ready to complain. But when I heard her voice on the line, she was sobbing helplessly like a child. My heart sank and I immediately asked her, Papa ko kya hua? And I, in my mind, just assumed the worst. So, jab, 30th रात और 31st सुबह phone नहीं आया, तो I was like very disappointed कि एक तो, मैं अकेली हूँ यहाँ पर और, इनका phone नहीं आया. तो I called them that evening, just ready to complain कि ऐसे, how can you be so careless? और जब मम्मा ने phone उठाया, तो मम्मा phone पे on the other side, she was sobbing. और मेरा दिल बिल्कुल बैठ गया और मैं घबरा गई और इमीडिएटली मेरे को लगा कि शायद पापा को कुछ हो गया है. तो मैंने सीधे ये पूछा, what happened to Papa? That's when she said, Guruji is no more. And her exact words were, hum anath ho gaye, meaning we all are orphaned. I still get goosebumps reliving that unreal moment. Sangaji, today it's been so many years, but I cannot explain the impact of hearing those words. It was like something hit us out of the blue, and I was not ready to accept it. I was not ready to process it. Or just again, for a flash, you know, what is she saying? Like, am I hearing it correctly? That Guruji is no more? Hum anath ho gaye? Like, what am I hearing? And instantly, even I started, वो चीख चीख के रोना निकलना शुरू हो गया कि ऐसे, how's this possible? So many thoughts plagued my mind. How can someone who gave life to millions of people give up his own? That's when all his words started to make sense. हम हमेशा ये सोचते हैं, instantly हमारे दिमाग में ये ख्याल आया कि लोगों को जिंदगी देने वाले अपने आप अपनी लाइफ कैसे छोड़कर, अपना चोला कैसे छोड़ के चले गए, और गुरुजी फिर कैसे थॉट इंजेक्ट करते हैं, सोची बख्शते हैं कि he used to say, मैंने चले जाना है, meaning one fine day I will just leave. And हम महापुरुष अपनी फाइल आप खोलते हैं और आप ही बंद करते हैं. बहुत बार गुरुजी ये बात बोलते थे, जिसका मतलब great souls like me decide when to come and when to go. मेरे जाने के बाद लाइना लग जाएंगियां, meaning after my departure, people will queue up in lines for my darshan. And those lines will be really long. This was all part of a grand design orchestrated by Guruji Maharaj. But his sangat back then was deeply impacted. हालांकि हम सब ने ये बात डायरेक्टली गुरुजी के मुंह से सुनी हुई है कि मैंने एक दिन चले जाना है, महापुरुष के दर्शन कर लो. दिल्ली वालों को महापुरुषों की कोई कदर ही नहीं, इथे मेरे तो पहले या मेरा तो बाद कोई किसी ने आना ही नहीं है. गुरुजी ये बोलते थे. And then he would say, मैं अपनी फाइल खुद निकालता हूँ, खुद बंद करूंगा. लेकिन those things never made sense till 31st May actually happened, and one fine day he just decided to leave. We were so accustomed to having this tangible place to go to, this guru who was physically present. Simply put, we could not imagine life without him. The good news is that, barring the tangibility factor, the feeling is still the same. There is no life without him, even right now. While Guruji was still in his physical form, I received a diagnosis of polycystic ovarian disease. Seeking his guidance, I went to Guruji and he simply said, Haldi wala dudh bhi, have turmeric milk. After he left his physical form, I experienced something extraordinary. I received the same message, but this time it came randomly from another Sangat member. उस आंटी का नाम श्रुति आंटी है, वो न्यू जर्सी की संगत है. Interestingly, she had no prior context or knowledge of my interaction with Guruji. It was as if he wanted to serve me a reminder through her. This incident stands as just one of the many examples of how Guruji continues to guide and validate his presence, whether it's through telepathy, the Sangat, Shabad Bani, or a satsang. When it's a message from the master, you will know it and you will feel it. And there's an unmistakable sense of divine connection. So, जब गुरुजी चोले में थे, और ये सत्संग मैंने काफी बार शेयर किया हुआ है कि I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian disease, और डॉक्टर्स ने मेरे को कुछ हार्मोन्स रेकमेंड किए थे कि आप ये हार्मोन्स खाने शुरू कर दो और आपकी ये मल्टीपल सिस्ट ठीक हो जाएंगे. And back then I was very young, and as an unmarried girl, you don't want to put hormones in your body because you don't know the long-lasting impacts of that. So, गुरुजी के पास गए और गुरुजी ने सीधे ये बोला, I don't think मैंने अपना सेंटेंस भी कंप्लीट किया था कि मेरे को पॉलिसिस्टिक ओवेरियन डिजीज है. He right away said कि हल्दी वाला दूध पी. And उनकी वो बात, वो पत्थर की लकीर मैंने बड़ी मुश्किल से, बिकॉज एक हल्दी पीनी बहुत मुश्किल है और दूध मुझे वैसे ही नहीं पसंद, तो मैंने सिर्फ लिटरली 2-4 दिन के लिए वो पिया था. एंड द सिस्ट, आई डोंट नो वेयर द सिस्ट गॉट डिसॉल्व्ड. जब नेक्स्ट अल्ट्रासाउंड हुआ तो वो सिस्ट नहीं थे. नाउ वो उस टाइम की बात थी जब गुरुजी चोले में थे. काफी साल बाद, I want to say almost after 10 or 12 years, मंदिर में एक बार रैंडमली मेरे को एक आंटी ने कहा कि आप हल्दी वाला, गुरुजी ने मेरे को बोला है आपको रिमाइंड कराने के लिए कि आप हल्दी वाला दूध पियो. And I was very shocked because she's new Sangat. She had no context of my prior history कि गुरुजी ने मुझे in person भी ये बात बोली थी. तो मैंने ये सुना और फिर भूल गए हम अपनी रूटीन में, क्योंकि जो चीज पसंद नहीं होती वो आप वैसे नहीं करना चाहते, राइट. और ये सत्संग मैंने बुक में नहीं लिखा, बट मोस्ट रिसेंटली मेरे को फिर से कॉम्प्लिकेशंस, गायनेक प्रॉब्लम्स बहुत ज्यादा शुरू हो गई थी. एंड आई डिड अ स्मॉल प्रोसीजर एज वेल. उसके बाद, प्रोसीजर के बाद भी वो ठीक नहीं हुआ था. And the doctor said that we'll end up doing another procedure, और आप इतने में ये हार्मोन्स खाने शुरू कर दो. तो अब मैंने लेने शुरू कर दिया. सर, probably this is the only way this continuous bleeding is going to stop. So I started taking those hormones, but वो hormones खाकर और भी ज्यादा complications हो गई. And then all of a sudden, this satsang played in my own mind that this is what Guruji's been asking me to do. अगर मैं दूध में हल्दी नहीं खा सकती, so let me just start taking turmeric pills. And Sangatji, believe you me, I started taking turmeric pills. मैंने वो hormones खाने बंद कर दिए. वो complication कहाँ गई डॉक्टर्स को भी नहीं पता, because they were all set on doing a procedure अभी upcoming November, December में. And it's just resolved itself. So this is the power of his words. जो हम कहते हैं कि गुरुजी ने अगर अपने मुंह से कोई भी बात निकाल दी, we always try to look for ways around, कि अपनी convenience के हिसाब से हल्दी नहीं अच्छी लगती, दूध नहीं अच्छी लगती, but just keeping that in mind कि ठीक है, मैं अगर दूध में इसको consume नहीं कर सकती, I can start having those pills. I started having those pills, and all shukrana, all glory to Guruji, that problem was fixed. So ये है उनकी blessings. जैसे आंटी ने बोला कि इसका कोई अंत तो हो ही नहीं सकता. And these are a few additional pictures. ये Empire State की है. For those of you who remember, गुरुजी इस पे चौकड़ी मार के criss cross करके बैठ जाते थे इस कैबिनेट के ऊपर. और ये हम सब जानते हैं कि गुरुजी अपने बर्थडे को बहुत धूमधाम से मनाते थे. This is गुरुजी cutting a cake on his birthday. So this is, we are at a halfway point now. So I think in the next 4 weeks, we should be able to wrap up this book. I thank each one of you जो आकर इस session में जुड़े. It's always such a delight to relive all these experiences. शुक्राना महाराज, शुक्राना संगत जी. कोई भूल चूक हो गई हो तो मैं क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ. ओम नमः शिवाय. शिव जी सदा सहाय. ओम नमः शिवाय. गुरु जी सदा सहाय. जय गुरु जी.
Aarti auntie, immense thanks. Like I said once again, it was also, very, what was inspiring was that despite the challenges, first and foremost, it requires courage to open up your life, your personal life. And that also comes, like you said, when there is faith in Guruji. That जब सब समर्पण कर दिया, तो even this is meant for him and his sangat. And sharing your challenges in your personal life, professional life with the sangat, somewhere someone is connecting to it, relating to it, and getting inspired that everything will be okay. Like you said, that when this realization comes that everything will be okay because Guruji hai, sooner or later, because he's monitoring everything. Isn't that such a beautiful feeling that, as Guruji Sangat we experience, which I think a non-Sangat can never understand, that how do we feel like that? But that is his blessings. And you also reinforced Guruji's dream darshan, which is, I think, his trademark style of blessing. And he also validates the upcoming event. आपको पहले हस्बैंड को भी दिखा दिया एंड आपको घर का भी दिखा दिया. सो once again when we feel sometimes कि पता नहीं गुरुजी आप सुन भी रहे हो कि नहीं, देख भी रहे हो कि नहीं, आपको पता है what I'm going through. This validates that he knows everything, but he will take you to the place where he wants you to be. And then you realize, can there be anyone else who loves us more, or who really wants my welfare than anybody else? So it's only Maharaj. And once again, tu hi tu, tu hi tu. So beautiful it is. And वो exact amount वाला reminded me that $11,500 कि गुरुजी कहते हैं ना, there is no coincidence. So just in case, if some amount had come, who probably someone would have owed you, or कहीं से भी आ जाना था, but जब exact amount आया, तो गुरुजी ने बता दिया कि होर कोई नहीं, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ याद करो, मैं ਤੁਹਾਡੇ कम करांगा. So it's only me, है ना? It's so lovely कि, और गुरुजी ने आपका मान भी रखा, because between you and your husband you felt कि नहीं होगा, जरूर होगा, यही घर होगा. so the person with the stronger faith, Guruji said, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ याद करो, you just have faith in me and I'm going to be there for you. And finally, Aarti, yes, Aarti, you spoke about Mahasamadhi. And really, the unthinkable hit us literally out of the blue. We can, I think I'm also surprised at how now I'm able to talk about it, because for years I wasn't able to. Just, but then, yes, badi jaldi wo sambhal lete hain. And once he starts showing us his presence, his dream darshan, answering each and every question through shabads, you say na कि जब गुरुजी का मैसेज होता है, वो डिवाइन मैसेज, संगत को पता चल जाता है ये मेरे लिए है. Whether it is in a shabad or that friend telling you, reminding you about the haldi wala doodh, you knew where it's coming from. So I think all of this, and of course, how magically the cysts just vanished. It's not about me today, but I was reminded of my daughter, how there were fibroids, so many of them, and the gynecologist has said, you need to get rid of them. She requested for his help, and the next ultrasound said, pata nahi kahan chale gaye sare fibroids. So only a sangat can understand aap kya keh rahi hain.
Yes.
So once again, the power of his words and his meher is influencing your words and your writings, and may he continue to do so. Thank you very much, Aarti Aunty ji. Thank you so very much. बहुत बहुत शुक्राना आपका और गुरु महाराज का, that with every chapter and every session, we get more and more convinced that we are with the right Guru and we are at the right destination in our lives we have reached. Shukrana Maharaj.
And you said my life, with Guruji's grace, I think I've come to a point, by and large, where I repeat this to my own self, that मुझ में क्या मेरा, सब तेरा ही तेरा. So मुझे कुछ ऐसा ही लगता ही नहीं कि मैं किसी चीज पे पर्दा डाल के रखूं या कुछ छुपाऊं, क्योंकि जो दिया, जो मिला, जो खोया, वो सब इन्हीं का तो है, मेरा क्या है. And when people say your home, I say no, it's not my home, it's my Guru's home. And it's been such a gradual but a beautiful shift. And when you come to the stage, it becomes a lot more fulfilling. And जो हम कहते हैं, and I always clarify, that's हम जो सत्संग share कर रहे हैं, that's आप बीती आपके साथ हम share कर रहे हैं. We are not doing any kind of marketing. We are not making any false promises on behalf of Guruji or anyone else. Yes, we firmly say कि जो होगा अच्छा होगा, everything will be okay. We say that. But the definition of okay is controlled by him. It's not going to be your definition of okay. That's the thing we need to remember.
Absolutely. And like you said, ki everything, what is satsang? Means just say it the way it was and the way it is. Sach ka sang. You cannot mollycoddle it or kind of cushion it or decorate it. No, that's not what he
जो
wants.
हुआ वो हुआ, जो किया सो किया,
Correct. Yes, good. Thank you so much once again. And Suresh Uncle-ji, I think please take over, and maybe you would like to thank Aarti Auntie too. Many thanks and shukrana from me to Guru Maharaj and to you.
Thank you. Jai Guruji.
Maybe Anil Uncle can then take over and हमें आज्ञा दिलवा दे सबको महाराज से.
शुक्राना गुरुजी.
Yeah.
शुक्राना आरती आंटी, शुक्राना तनुज आंटी और शुक्राना सारी संगत का फॉर अटेंडिंग ब्यूटीफुल एंड डिवाइन सेशन. शुक्राना सभी का, शुक्राना गुरु महाराज का. नाउ वी विल टेक आज्ञा फ्रॉम गुरु महाराज.
जय गुरुजी.
जय गुरुजी. आज्ञा दो गुरुजी. शुक्राना, अनंतम शुक्राना.
शुक्राना गुरुजी. Thank you, Aarti, for recounting your blessings in the most wonderful way. Jai Guruji.
Thank you, Jai Guruji.
Shukrana Guruji.